coast to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, a look back at the inauguration of President Donald Trump and some of the actions he took on his first day. Plus, warming shelters are being set up to help residents cope with the dangerously cold weather. And a special march was held in Waterville to celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this morning. If you stepped outside this morning or even stepped out of bed, you might know that it's absolutely frigid. We're having a really cold morning here in Maine, and it's kind of all across the country right now. There is snow forecasted in Louisiana right now, so it's kind of crazy. Anyways, though, let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. A cold start this morning. We have cold weather advisories that will last until 10 a.m. this morning. Temperatures starting off rather chilly this morning and wind chill values just a little bit lower. We have some advisories along the coast, small craft advisories, and freezing spray advisories that are posted as well along the coast. Meanwhile, let's check things out. So looking rather quiet this morning. We'll see some clouds passing through. A stray flurry or two cannot be ruled out later on today. But meanwhile, look at this, something I never thought I'd see. We have snow across the southern parts of the U.S. and some spots like New Orleans could possibly see at least 3 to 6 inches of snow. Areas that don't normally see a lot of snow could see a decent amount today from this winter storm that is developing, and places that don't normally see it. But the rest of the Northeast, just some lake effect snow developing, and really that's about it. So futurecast for us today, a partly cloudy sky, maybe a flurry or two if you're lucky, with a mostly clear sky to partly cloudy sky in a few areas coming up later on tonight. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. So the winds calm down tonight with a quick gust tomorrow that can reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times. For today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries possible, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures overall in the upper teens. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. We'll have a look at that full 5-day forecast a little later on. Well, first thing this morning, President Donald Trump wasting no time moving forward with his agenda, signing a wave of executive actions and orders on his first day back in office. It includes pardoning defendants charged in the January 6th attack at the Capitol. ABC's Perry Russum is on Capitol Hill.
Amid the pomp and circumstance of President Trump's first day back in office, an all-out blitz enacting his agenda.
This is a hell of a day we're having, right?
Trump signing an avalanche of executive actions. It includes declaring a national emergency at the southern border, ending birthright citizenship, requiring the government to recognize only 2 genders, and pardoning defendants charged in the January 6th attack at the Capitol.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Trump also saying he will order a 25% tariff on goods coming from Mexico and Canada starting February 1st. Experts warning the added tax could get handed down to Americans, raising prices at the store.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
Trump signing an executive order to delay the ban on TikTok for 75 days in hopes of giving the app's Chinese owner enough time to sell off its U.S. assets.
Wow. Thank you.
During the Oval Office signings, a moment of surprise. Trump finding a letter left in the Resolute desk by former President Biden.
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that determination.
That sounds great.
And we are already seeing lawsuits challenging Trump's move to end birthright citizenship in a lawsuit filed overnight. It calls the order flagrantly illegal and an attempt to redefine a right enshrined in the very fabric of our country. Perry Russum, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk making headlines for his speech at the inaugural parade rally. Or rather, an eyebrow-raising gesture instead of the speech itself. While the crowd was cheering at his remarks, Musk takes his right hand, pats over his heart, and then sends that arm out with his palm facing down. He turns around to the crowd behind him and does the same gesture, some saying it resembled a Nazi victory salute. Musk was one of Trump's biggest campaign backers and is now his pick to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency aimed at cutting excessive government spending. In light of Donald Trump's inauguration, we spoke with Professor and UMaine Political Science Department Chair Mark Brewer about his expectations for Trump's initial actions in office. Brewer says he believes President Donald Trump will fulfill many of the promises he made during and after his campaign with the use of executive orders. According to Brewer, such actions aren't far from the norm for past presidents, but the sheer number and potentially controversial nature of Trump's executive orders is what sets them apart.
He's already previewed the executive orders that he's going to issue. Some of them are going to be highly controversial. Many of them will probably be challenged in court. So, all presidents do this when they get inaugurated. They issue an avalanche of executive orders. So he'll do that. Some of his will be a little bit more controversial probably than others.
Brewer says of those executive orders, the ones that will have the most impact on Mainers are those involving tariffs, specifically tariffs imposed on Canadian imports. However, Brewer reminds us that nothing is for certain until the executive orders are fully implemented. All right, enough now with presidential-related stuff. We are going to move back to local news now. Recovery efforts are still underway for the 2 fishermen who went missing off the coast of Cutler over the weekend. There's also word this morning that searchers may have an idea of where their boat is located. The U.S. Coast Guard announced on Sunday they would be suspending their search for Chester Barrett and his son Aaron Barrett after more than 42 hours of coordinated search efforts. However, Maine authorities and local fishermen have continued to look for the 2 men. Authorities say the 2 were reported missing Saturday evening. They departed in their fishing vessel from Cobscook Bay State Park around 5 a.m. on Saturday, but planned to seek refuge in Cutler after facing unfavorable sea conditions. Emergency crews have searched over 900 square miles of ocean and coastline since they were reported missing. A spokesperson for the Maine Marine Patrol says they're still continuing to send crews along the water and shoreline between Lubec and South Addison in hopes of recovering the missing fishermen. They also confirmed that fishermen who have been assisting in the search have detected what could be the boat near the mouth of the tidal Moose River, roughly 160 feet below the surface. Searchers have not confirmed if the detected object is the missing vessel, but should a salvage effort be made, Marine Patrol will assist local fishermen. Fairfield police are asking for the public's help as they search for a suspect in a hit-and-run crash that injured a pedestrian on Saturday. Fairfield police say shortly before 6 o'clock Saturday evening, officers were dispatched to the Oakland Road near the Six Rod Road for a report of a vehicle versus a pedestrian crash. Police say a 38-year-old female was struck by a vehicle while she was walking with traffic towards Oakland. A witness described the vehicle that struck the woman as being a mid-sized black sedan which fled the scene. Police say the incident took place on a dark section of road and the female was wearing all dark clothing. They say the female victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Fairfield police are asking that anyone with information on the crash to call them at the number listed on your screen, which is 207-453-9321. The Maine State Police are asking for help identifying a man in regards to a burglary at a Stetson home earlier this month. The man in question can be seen on your screen. The incident happened on January 8th around 2 p.m. on the Huey Road in Stetson. If you have any information about this man or the incident, you're asked to call Trooper Harvey Jondro at the NFT Bangor Barracks by calling 973-3700. The Bangor Police Department is investigating 2 more convenience store robberies, and they say that they believe the suspect they're searching for is also responsible for a robbery that occurred last week. Police are asking for any information about the man you see on your screen now. The suspect is described as a white male between 5'8" and 6'2", weighing between 250 to 300 pounds. He was seen wearing a black mask, gray North Face sweatshirt with a possible black rain jacket on underneath, as well as black pants, brown work boots, and gray gloves with the possible texture on the palms. According to Bangor Police, officers responded to the Big Apple convenience store at 146 State Street after the employee reported a robbery. The employee told officers they believed the person who robbed them was the same one who they had seen in news reports about a robbery at the Circle K on Monday, January 13th. The suspect allegedly brandished a knife and demanded money, and after taking the money, left the scene on foot. About 30 minutes later, police responded to a panic alarm from the Circle K at Broadway in Griffin, the same one that was robbed on January 13th. An employee told police the store had been robbed again by the same man as before. The Circle K employee's description of the alleged robber matched the Big Apple employee's description. If you have any information, please contact the Bangor Police Department. You can leave an anonymous tip by calling 947-7382 and hitting extension 3. Bangor city officials are asking for the public's help in their search for a new city manager. The City Council plans to hold a meeting on Thursday for residents, businesses, and organizations to share what they believe are the major issues and challenges facing Bangor. Participants are also being asked to express what qualities, education, and experience the new city manager should possess. This comes after City Manager Debbie Laurie announced last month that she will step down from the position this spring after 2 years as manager. The meeting will be held on Thursday at 5:15 in the council chambers. All right, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a special march is held to remember the life of Martin Luther King Jr. and to raise awareness about poverty in our current society. We'll have the story coming up. But before we go, let's take another quick look at that freezing forecast. Partly cloudy today. We are likely to see a few flurries, and it is just absolutely dangerously cold out there. High of 17 degrees for your Tuesday, dropping down to a low of -8 overnight. That's about 1 degree colder than last night. Tomorrow, it won't be any different. In fact, a little bit colder with a high only about 15 degrees. Partly cloudy. We'll be right back.
At US Cellular, you don't have to choose between a great phone and the right phone plan for you. You can get 4 free phones of your choice and 4 lines for just $90.
That's like us not having to choose between tickets to wrestling or that puppet musical.
Because you get both. US Cellular, built for us.
Come stop by Triple S Tack Shop, 315 Hamden Road, Carmel, for quality clothing and equestrian gear.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Want to test drive US Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage for free?
Here we go.
Hey, I wonder if US Cellular lets me stream in my... Yep, it's working.
Download the US Cellular Trius app today.
25 words or less.
Wallpaper.
We have 30,000 ways to thank our loyal fans.
I love watching people win money that's not mine.
Win one of 3 $10,000 cash prizes.
Courtroom leader.
The judge. By watching from home and scanning our QR code.
You just won the game, guys!
It's the 30K Thanks Arama giveaway.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Along with the presidential inauguration, the nation also celebrated the life and lasting legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The city of Waterville held a march not just to mark this important day, but to also raise awareness and support for those experiencing poverty and homelessness. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with the event organizer, who has a particular connection with Dr. King.
To remind us of the fights that have been fought before, the importance of carrying on, we thought we should honor him in this way.
Elizabeth Leonard is an activist with the Poor People's Campaign. She also organized a march of a few dozen activists to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which began at 11:30 at the Veterans Park in Waterville. According to Leonard, while many people know Dr. King for his fight for racial equality, he was also focused on the issue of poverty.
Martin Luther King in 1968 7 and 8 before he was murdered, founded the Poor People's Campaign, which was meant to be more than just addressing racial issues, but bringing together the issues of racism and poverty and militarism and all of these interlocking systems of injustice.
And the Poor People's Campaign isn't the only connection Leonard has to Dr. King. Her father was also a civil rights activist and joined King on one of his marches from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama.
I do want to say I'm wearing a vest, a safety vest that my father wore in Selma in 1965 when he marched with Martin Luther King there. And it says on the back something about Unitarian Universalists for 50 miles for freedom.
The group stopped at Waterville City Hall to hear an excerpt from Dr. King's final speech before ending their march with a donation at the Waterville Area Soup Kitchen.
We just want people to think about Martin Luther King, the messages he gave us, the need to keep struggling for justice, and to keep an eye on those in our government and our society who are trying to hoard all the wealth to themselves and deprive everybody else of the wealth and the rights and the opportunities that they should have if we really are going to be a democracy.
In Waterville, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Governor Mills' office released a statement marking this day of remembrance, saying, quote, during a 1957 speech in Birmingham, Alabama, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? As we observe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the only federal holiday designated as a day of national service, let us each reflect on how we can better serve our families, our neighbors, and our communities. May we all renew our commitment to building a state and nation grounded in shared responsibility and to expanding justice, equality, and fairness for all people, end quote. We're seeing the beginning of what the Arctic blast we've been warned about of that Arctic blast, and the Bangor Fire Department says they're ready for cold weather calls. Assistant Fire Chief Chandler Corvo says the department is lucky this winter hasn't been too eventful with calls. But with the first extreme temperatures starting to set in, responders are keeping an eye out for issues like freezing pipes, electric heater hazards, and improper use of generators. Corvo says responders are prepared with cold weather gear no matter what emergency arises.
Yeah, so we just make sure that crews have all the appropriate gear that they're going to need tonight, that if we respond to any type of calls in the middle of the night when it's this cold, that we circulate water, that sort of thing.
Corvo says anyone with fire safety questions should contact the Bangor Fire Department's non-emergency line. For information on winter safety, visit this story on our website, foxbangor.com. All right, the time now is 8:18. Right after the break, warming centers have been established in Bangor and other communities as well as the extremely cold weather grips the state. Plus, protesters took to the streets of Washington on Monday to have their voices heard on Inauguration Day. We'll hear why as Good Morning Maine continues.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Get this low mileage lease on this 2025 Cadillac XT5 for around $499 per month. Visit Court Cadillac in Bangor.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way every day.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
As Bangor braces for an Arctic blast this week, additional warming shelters are opening their doors and extending hours to ensure no one is left out in the cold. Our Alex Schley has more.
The Bangor Area Homeless Shelter and similar community organizations are bracing for this week's extreme cold conditions.
The warming center's been running around 20 or 25. We can hold 38 in the warming center. When it gets cold like this, sometimes we go over that 38.
Executive Director of the Bangor Area Homeless Shelter, Boyd Cronholm, says the organization opened the warming center 7 years ago.
Back then, we estimated there were probably 2 to 3 dozen people who are sleeping outside during the winter. And so we were looking at what are we going to do with those people.
Before the warming center, the unhoused were often left to fend for themselves.
They'd be huddled in a tent, or they'd be huddled in a doorway, or there was a period of time where they would go to the police station and hang out in there, or they'd be in the emergency rooms with some aches and pains that may or may not exist.
Bangor native Ellery Drew Church III says in the past he'd build a camp in the woods.
I did it last year and the year before that.
This year, Drew Church and dozens of others have chosen to utilize the warming center. To accommodate the rising demand, Cromhold says new facilities have opened in recent years, including the Wells Warming Center, which provides a comfortable space for the unhoused during the day.
The people here actually care. They're not here for a paycheck. I do laundry here. They offer showers. They're good people.
For a full list of warming shelters open in Bangor this week, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:22, and it's time to get a full look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Thank you very much. We have cold weather advisories up for the northern parts of the state, and now will last until about 10 a.m. this morning. Cold temperatures and wind chills taking place in that part of the state. We also have small craft advisories up until 10 o'clock tonight, and freezing spray advisories posted along the coast as well. Meanwhile, wave heights at around 3 to 5 feet according to the buoys right nearby, a little bit higher further off towards the north and east, and even 10 to 13 foot wave heights being noted farther out towards sea at this moment in time. Starting off rather clear this morning under a mostly clear sky, which has allowed temperatures to really fall. We'll have some clouds developing later on today and maybe a stray flurry or two. But meanwhile, in the southern parts of the U.S., something I never thought I'd see, some snow across the southern parts of the United States, where areas like New Orleans could see possibly 3 to 6 inches of snow before the system moves out of the area. Areas along the south that don't normally see snow, seeing a good amount. But the rest of the country right now, this is the only game going on. The rest of the Northeast just seeing some lake effect snow at this moment in time. So futurecast for us, some clouds across the northern parts of the state, and now we'll move in for us later on today, partly cloudy, a stray flurry or two possible. Later on tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. Then once we head towards tomorrow, a good amount of sunshine to start. Some more clouds developing during the afternoon period. Those will be out of here as we head towards Wednesday evening. We will have gusty winds to watch out for, and that could reach up to about 25 miles per hour at times, calming down later on tonight, and then we might get a quick gust tomorrow that could reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times in a few areas. Of course, wind chill values will still be rather low. Notice the northern parts of the state, they've been rather low. Later on tonight, another cold one on the way, especially in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. But once we head towards tomorrow night, or should I say as we head towards Wednesday night, things will improve just a little bit, but still cold in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. Meanwhile, our average high temperature is 27 degrees. We'll do upper teens today, middle teens as we head towards your Wednesday. We make it back into the 20s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Lower 30s for your Sunday, and then we're back in the mid-20s as we head towards your Monday. So for today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy. A few stray flurries can't be ruled out, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tonight, 8 below, mostly clear and cold out there with the wind overall looking nice and calm. For tomorrow, 15 degrees, partly cloudy. cloudy. Wind chills near 10 below at times, and the northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. A slight chance for snow on Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-20s. Mid-20s again for your Friday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the mid-20s.
Nissan Rogue has been named a Consumer Guide Best Buy for 11 years in a row. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Now get 2.9% financing for 60 months on Rogue.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Don't get cold feet this winter. Stay warm and dry with high-performance footwear from Comfort Shoes and More. With an extensive selection of winter boots rated from 0 to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll find comfort in knowing your feet will be warm in any weather. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear with grippers built right into the sole. With boots in stock up to 6E and size 17 for men and women. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
February 9th, the Super Bowl is on Fox.
Let's go!
It's not how you begin.
You take advantage of the moment. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's get rolling now.
But how you finish.
Dominate from the first step to the last step. Let's go!
Super Bowl 59, February 9th on Fox.
Put a little more cash in your bank. Save money with half-off deals at foxbangor.com.
Nissan Rogue has been named a Consumer Guide Best Buy for 11 years in a row. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
One of 6 Nissan vehicles with starting MSRP under $30,000.
A Border Patrol agent is shot and killed during a traffic stop in Vermont. It happened Monday on Interstate 91 in Coventry near the Canadian border. Homeland Security officials tell Fox News 2 suspects were in the car when it happened and that one of the suspects was dead. DHS did not confirm the legal status of the shooter. Vermont Governor Phil Scott's office says he is aware of the incident and Vermont State Police are assisting federal authorities. Desperately needed aid continued to pour into Gaza on Tuesday morning following Sunday's ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Trucks streamed across the border from Egypt into the southern city of Rafah. Under the ceasefire agreement, hundreds of trucks can enter Gaza a day. Some 90% of Gaza's population has been displaced, and reports from the last few months show that millions are facing famine. Its cities are in ruins, and its people are suffering from malnutrition after 15 months of Israeli bombardment. Following the ceasefire, some families set off for home on foot, their belongings loaded on carts. In Rafah, residents returned to find massive destruction that they described as a dystopia. Medical sources told Al Jazeera on Monday that since the ceasefire, only a day before, the bodies of 97 Palestinians had been recovered from underneath the rubble, with residents searching for thousands more. Protesters from various human rights groups marched in Washington on Inauguration Day. Demonstrators holding their Palestinian flags, rainbow flags, and signs objecting to Trump's policies high in the air on Monday. Further down the road, President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were being sworn in. Protesters say they were demonstrating 4 different causes, including urging the government to sign an arms embargo against Israel and representing their loved ones whose rights are at risk from Trump's proposed policies.
We are asking for, whoever the president is, that American tax dollars are not spent providing weapons for Israel.
I definitely have people in communities that I deeply care for that will be, their rights are in jeopardy, their rights to be who they're meant to be, the rights to love as they want. And, you know, these are serious identity issues. And it gets to a point where if these people aren't allowed the care that they need, it's a question of do they want to wake up tomorrow. So it's life and death.
Donald Trump was sworn in Monday as the 47th President of the United States. Frigid temperatures forced the swearing-in ceremony indoors to the Capitol Rotunda, the first time that has happened in nearly 40 years. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll stop by a local gym in Bangor to see how people are keeping up with their New Year's resolutions. That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Now that is how you dare to compare. Just a happy shopper enjoying the lush velvety feel of my new Posh Sectional. Enveloped in the endless comfort of Bobapedic gel memory foam seats. Surrounded by 14 included accent pillows. Safe in the knowledge that they're spending hundreds less than they would on my competitor's similar sofa. And most importantly, that they get
free cookies and ice cream.
Exactly! Shop Bob's everyday low prices and see how much you can save when you dare to compare at Bob's Discount Furniture.
Everyone has a reason to quit smoking or vaping. Maybe it's for your kids, your health, or just to prove to yourself you can. No matter your reason, quitting can be tough, but Mainers are tougher. Maine QuitLink offers free help to quit smoking and vaping. Get a personalized quit plan and free medications to control nicotine cravings. No insurance needed, no cost to Mainers. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting cold turkey. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith, and today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, and today is National Hugging Day. I know it's cringy, it sounds quite cringy, but this national holiday exists to show you that giving or receiving a hug can be good for your health. Hugs release endorphins, which are natural painkillers, as well as oxytocin, which is a hormone that helps us feel more connected to others. It's known as the love hormone. Hugs are also known to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which helps reduce stress and anxiety. So overall, giving or receiving a hug frequently can help us be happier, feel more at home with others, and be more resilient to stress. I know it has definitely helped me. But just a reminder, you cannot go around hugging people willy-nilly. It can be seen as quite unprofessional in certain environments, especially if you hug your subordinates at work. That's a huge no-no, just saying. And if somebody looks like they don't want to receive a hug, maybe just don't force them to do that either. Sometimes I don't want a hug from everyone either, even though normally I think hugs are awesome, but I'm not going to be going around accepting a hug from everyone. Okay. Now for some history, quite different history as well. This is not very hugging type history. In 1793, King Louis XVI, the last Bourbon king of France, was executed by guillotine in Paris during the French Revolution. In 1924, Vladimir Lenin, who led the Russian Revolution and later served as the first head of the Soviet state, died at the age of 53. Since his death, his corpse has almost always lied in an open sarcophagus in the Red Square Mausoleum in Moscow. In 1930, the Boston Bruins became the first team in NHL history to score 100 goals in a season, with a 5-1 win over Chicago at the Boston Garden. Kind of crazy to think about. That was almost 100 years ago. That's crazy. In 1997, Newt Gingrich became the first speaker in the history of the U.S. House of Representatives to be given a formal reprimand for ethics violations, after the House voted 395 to 28 in favor of the measure. And in 2017, demonstrations known collectively as the Women's March were held throughout the world to support gender equality, equal rights, and other issues that were expected to face challenges under the newly inaugurated President Donald Trump. It was widely believed to be the largest single-day demonstration in U.S. history. All right, for birthdays today, we have actor Jerry Trainor, probably known best for his role as Spencer in iCarly. He's 47 years old today. And singer-songwriter Emma Bunton, known for her role as Baby Spice in the Spice Girls. She's 49 today. And actress Geena Davis is 69 years old today. Of course, she rarely needs an introduction. I absolutely love Geena Davis. All right, moving on now. It's frigid. It's dangerously cold outside. Keep an eye on your neighbors. Keep an eye out for folks who may seem cold. It's one of those times where we're all cranking the heat, and it's tough. Let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Thank you very much. A cold start this morning. We have cold weather advisories that will last until 10 a.m. this morning. Temperatures starting off rather chilly this morning and wind chill values just a little bit lower. We have some advisories along the coast, small craft advisories, and freezing spray advisories that are posted as well along the coast. Meanwhile, let's check things out. So looking rather quiet this morning. We'll see some clouds passing through. A stray flurry or two cannot be ruled out later on today. But meanwhile, look at this, something I never thought I'd see. We have snow across the southern parts of the U.S. and some spots like New Orleans could possibly see at least 3 to 6 inches of snow. Areas that don't normally see a lot of snow could see a decent amount today from this winter storm that is developing, and places that don't normally see it. But the rest of the Northeast, just some lake effect snow developing, and really that's about it. So futurecast for us today, a partly cloudy sky, maybe a flurry or two if you're lucky, with a mostly clear sky to partly cloudy sky in a few areas coming up later on tonight. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. So the winds calm down tonight with a quick gust tomorrow that can reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times. For today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy, a few stray flurries possible, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures overall in the upper teens. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. It looks quite cold out there. Well, earlier this month, we caught up with a local gym ahead of the New Year spike. Our Grace Blanchard stopped by to see if people are staying true to their resolutions or if many are already falling off course.
It's been a pretty strong start to the year.
Since the start of the new year, the owners of Evolve Fitness in Bangor say they have seen a roughly 15 to 20% increase in membership.
Classes are really full. The trainers are staying pretty busy. We're doing a lot of orientations and in-body scans and things like that, so that's all kind of just a sign to us that everyone's still really in it.
Smith says the increase is common this time of year, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to last.
Usually that lasts for about 3 months, and then it tends to tail off to be a little slower.
Many trainers attribute the decline in attendance to changes in weather and lack of discipline.
A lot of people start with motivation, but they don't have the discipline of sticking with it.
Any changes in people's plans tends to be hard. That's why getting a trainer helps, because you're locked in, you have somebody that can keep you honest, keep you coming.
For those that have been coming for years, they say the best way to find motivation is by leaning on your gym community.
I'll see people in here who maybe aren't the most confident in what they're doing, and I just want those people to know there are people in the gym that would love for you to come ask them for advice, and then you can learn something yourself, they'll learn something, and that's the best way to make friends, is just to ask for advice on form or diet.
Figure out what your goal is and how you're going to get there, and then make sure that you do something that's going to work for you in your lifestyle, in your daily habits that you can stick to and really commit to, and just make it part of your everyday routine.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And right after the break, Jack Webb has our sports updates. We'll be right back.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Fire, water, storm damage, and even mold. We take care of you from cleanup to construction 24/7. When disaster strikes, tell your insurance company you want Penobscot Cleaning Services.
Orno Arcade has expanded, and we have dozens of new games to play. We have prize machines, including an entire section dedicated to your favorite modern games. We have games from the 80s and games from the 90s. Plus, we have the largest selection of indie arcade games in the country, along with 9-hole blacklight mini golf. We also have a brand new birthday party room. Hey, we have it all. Come on up to Orono and experience one of the most unique family entertainment centers in Maine.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily. We offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
I don't know what I did or who I am now, but I will be a doctor again.
Doc, all new, tonight on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start on the basketball court where the Maine women got back their winning ways this weekend, picking up 2 big wins at the Pit. The Black Bears took down the NJIT Highlanders on Thursday by a score of 71-58, then handled UMBC on Saturday by a score of 61-47, coming off a trip to New York a week before that saw Maine lost both to Binghamton and Albany. So these 2 wins were big for confidence and to put the Black Bears back on track.
Yeah, I think it just shows how much heart we have as a team and what we've found within ourselves. I think if we continue to bring that, we'll have a great rest this year.
I mean, this week was really big for us. We needed to win both games, and I thought we played well on the road, just didn't finish plays, didn't do enough to get the W, so we got to learn from that, but I was proud of how they responded.
Now, the losses of Simon and Smith have been discussed enough. The roster is what it is, and they've shown the Black Bear fans that they can still be counted on to compete in the America East this season with their ability to score from every position. And Coach Vachon says this team just needs to keep getting better.
Yeah, it's a journey, and it's been a hard-fought journey, and it continues to be. It's something we work on every day, to really hold each other accountable and support each other at the same time, which is not always easy to do, and so I think we've been really working on that, and we're getting better. Playing with a lot of heart is something we've talked a lot about, and I think we're getting better, a little bit better every day.
Also, congratulations to Maine's Caroline Borman, who was just named the America East Player of the Week. She had a career-high 34 points against NJIT on Thursday. We'll stay on the hardwood now, where a former Hamden Academy standout has found his home in southern Maine. Bryce Lozier, who brought Hamden Academy to a Class A state championship back in 2020, is now leading the way at USM. Lozier, who played collegiately at the University of Maine and St. Anselm College, has found a home in Gorham. The 6'5" guard is averaging 23 points and 12 rebounds a game, accounting for 11 double-doubles this season after spending some time deeper in the rotation at Maine. He said coming to USM definitely put a spark back in his game.
I know coming into this final year that this was, pretty much my last chance to play and show people what I could do. And I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the gym putting up shots, getting ready for this final season. So just being able to go out on the court every night and show that I'm capable and having the trust from my teammates and my coaches to be able to be successful has been great. So.
Good play, even better. Good player, even better person, sticking with basketball and bringing it back down to the high school level now, where a major milestone was reached on Saturday. Greenville's Liam Mason scored his 1,000th point against Bangor Christian School on Saturday. Mason was fouled in the third quarter, where he flushed a free throw to reach the 1K mark. They then stopped the game to present Mason the game ball and allowed his family to come down, take a picture. The Greenville standout also surpassed 100 goals in soccer in the fall and says 1,000 points in the winter isn't too bad for a soccer player.
I mean, it's a lot. I focus on soccer, so I mean, I wasn't expecting coming into this season going to be able to hit 1,000, but shots kept falling, teammates kept getting me the ball, and I was able to put the ball in the net, thank God. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It doesn't feel real.
We'll head to the ice now, where the Penobscot Pioneers hosted the Gorham Rams Co-op over at Penobscot Ice Arena. Gorham making the trip up, the Pioneers, with some of the youth Maine Inferno players during introductions. I think that was the key to the Pios' fast start, as Delaney Carr fires a rebound past the goaltender to give Penobscot an early 1-0 lead. Later on, it's Ella Davis, who's just weaving through some defenders, gets the shot on net, but is denied not once but twice by Claire Fahrenkampf to keep it a one-score game. Shortly after, it's the Pios on the attack again, but Fahrenkampf stands tall and makes the saves, and the rebound goes wide. Second period now, it's Carr on the breakaway. She lifts this one over the goalie's pad with the backhand to score her second of the game as the Pioneers win by a score of 3-1. We'll stay on the ice now and check in with the Boston Bruins. The Bees hosting the Sharks for a holiday matinee. We picked this one up in the first period where Vinny Lettieri opens the scoring with a goal. What a shot from the point. The Bruins were on fire today, snapping the puck around. Still in the first now. Sharks on the attack. Nico Strum chases a puck down, finds Barclay Goudreau, who fires it to tie it up at 1. What a great effort there by number 7. We skip ahead to the third. Bruins down 1, and look at the play here. Marchand to Pourtois to Coyle, who fires it past the goaltender to even things up at 3. Later in the third, it's Coyle again. He throws it behind the keeper's pads. It somehow finds the back of the net, and the Boston Bruins go on to win this one by a score of 6-3. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. The comfort and warmth of home means more on days like these. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today. Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
She's the apple of his eye.
Ta-da! What do you think?
You look beautiful. And you're grounded. She may be a tomboy.
I'm so lucky you get to be in junior G.I. Joes. And you're lucky I don't want to get blood on my uniform.
But she's still daddy's little girl.
Sit down, I want to talk to you for a minute.
This isn't a sex talk, is it? Because I already know more than I'd like to.
Learn all about Eve.
Am I supposed to understand what you mean by that?
On Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Luke Sequeira Flanders. He's with the Needlepoint Sanctuary of Maine, and they're hosting a warming center tonight to kind of save lives. Luke, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So you just came from the warming center overnight. You were a volunteer, 2 a.m. to about right now?
Yes, I work for Needlepoint Sanctuary, but just about everybody else who's been with us overnight has been volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is really important. But hey, before we get into, they are searching for volunteers for tonight's overnight warming shelter. Can you explain a little bit, what does Needlepoint Sanctuary do in our community?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a harm reduction organization based right here in Bangor. So we operate a syringe service program for injection drug users. There are many purposes for a syringe service program. Primarily, it's to prevent the reuse and sharing of medical syringes because that's how you can get all kinds of infections. You can also spread bloodborne diseases like HIV or hepatitis C. And we also, we provide a variety of services as well. We offer Narcan trainings and we distribute naloxone. We also, we're engaged in various forms of community service as well. Including this emergency warming shelter. We do community cleanups. We're really, at the core of it, we're really interested in providing a compassionate presence for people who are in some of the most difficult circumstances that any of us could find ourselves in.
Right. So not necessarily saying we are here to serve the homeless population. You're saying that we serve harm reduction purposes for the community in general.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
folks who need it.
Yeah, we primarily serve the homeless population. That's where the need is greatest.
Right.
But of course, we're happy to engage with anybody who needs help.
Okay, so that's a whole conversation. I don't want that to take up the interview, because we could have a whole conversation about harm reduction, of course, and providing needles to the community as well. But hey, so there's this warming center that you guys are doing. It was last night and tonight, and you need volunteers. Can you talk a little bit about that need and what the warming center is like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are based right now at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Bangor. That's 120 Park Street. We need volunteers to cover especially the shifts between 11:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m.
Yep.
That's where that's where the fewest people are available, of course, especially on a weeknight.
Right. So if you're a night owl tonight, you could definitely be of help.
Yeah, please reach out. And also, very, very crucially, we need donations of supplies as well as money.
Yeah,
to
monetary
be able to
donations.
Exactly, are very important.
Yep.
So.
So where can folks reach out? I know you have an email address. If you want to say that out loud, that may be the best way to reach you, right?
Yeah, right. You can reach me at email at luke.npsanctuary@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at npsanctuary. We're also on Facebook, Needlepoint Sanctuary of Maine. And we also have a donor box as well that people can donate to online.
Okay, that's online?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll get this posted in about 30 minutes on foxbangor.com, and it will have those things linked as well, including his email. So if somebody wants to help tonight, they should send you an email, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, to find out more, what's the address of the website again? I put you on the spot.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
I've been up all night. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You were at the warming center.
Yep.
I'll link that as well for Needlepoint Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Luke, thank you so much for joining us and sharing about your efforts here for the community.
Of course. Thank you for the opportunity to share it.
Of course. We'll send it over to Devin Biggs for that full weather forecast.
Thank you very much. We have cold weather advisories up for the northern parts of the state, and now will last until about 10 a.m. this morning. Cold temperatures and wind chills taking place in that part of the state. We also have small craft advisories up until 10 o'clock tonight, and freezing spray advisories posted along the coast as well. Meanwhile, wave heights at around 3 to 5 feet according to the buoys right nearby, a little bit higher further off towards the north and east, and even 10 to 13 foot wave heights being noted farther out towards sea at this moment in time. Starting off rather clear this morning under a mostly clear sky, which has allowed temperatures to really fall. We'll have some clouds developing later on today and maybe a stray flurry or two. But meanwhile, in the southern parts of the U.S., something I never thought I'd see, some snow across the southern parts of the United States, where areas like New Orleans could see possibly 3 to 6 inches of snow before the system moves out of the area. Areas along the south that don't normally see snow, seeing a good amount. But the rest of the country right now, this is the only game going on. The rest of the Northeast just seeing some lake effect snow at this moment in time. So futurecast for us, some clouds across the northern parts of the state, and now we'll move in for us later on today, partly cloudy, a stray flurry or two possible. Later on tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. Then once we head towards tomorrow, a good amount of sunshine to start. Some more clouds developing during the afternoon period. Those will be out of here as we head towards Wednesday evening. We will have gusty winds to watch out for, and that could reach up to about 25 miles per hour at times, calming down later on tonight, and then we might get a quick gust tomorrow that could reach up to about 15 miles per hour at times in a few areas. Of course, wind chill values will still be rather low. Notice the northern parts of the state, they've been rather low. Later on tonight, another cold one on the way, especially in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. But once we head towards tomorrow night, or should I say as we head towards Wednesday night, things will improve just a little bit, but still cold in the northern parts of the state and for the rest of us as well. Meanwhile, our average high temperature is 27 degrees. We'll do upper teens today, middle teens as we head towards your Wednesday. We make it back into the 20s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Lower 30s for your Sunday, and then we're back in the mid-20s as we head towards your Monday. So for today, 17 degrees, partly cloudy. A few stray flurries can't be ruled out, and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tonight, 8 below, mostly clear and cold out there with the wind overall looking nice and calm. For tomorrow, 15 degrees, partly cloudy, wind chills near 10 below at times, and the northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. A slight chance for snow on Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-20s. Mid-20s again for your Friday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Saturday with highs in the mid-20s.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're gonna fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
You're way shorter than I thought you'd be. There's a shirtless selfie of me by the dumbbells. Here I am. I do air drumming. I'm a competitive air drummer.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I forgot my wallet at home, so sugar mama.
Will you excuse me?
The new Hyundai Tucson with advanced tech and safety features. There's joy in every journey. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson SE for only $259 a month, or get 1.99% APR for 48 months. See your local Bangor Hyundai dealer.
It's high school basketball season, and ABC7 and Fox 22 are here to keep you up to date with your local scores and highlights during Friday Night Fast Break. Get out and support your hometown teams and look for our sports crew to get your own free Friday Night Fast Break t-shirt courtesy of
Boynton's Greenhouse, high-powered nutrition, Mills Shea, Texier, and Talbot, PA, Randy's Full Service Auto, and Skowhegan Tire Center.
Champagne problems may soon be on the horizon as shipments for the fizzy drink decline. A new report from Committee Champagne reveals that champagne's shipments from France fell by almost 10% last year, marking the second year in a row of a decline in sales. The committee says inflation, economic uncertainty, and extreme weather events are partly to blame. This comes after French company LVMH reported back in July that people aren't buying the drink like they used to. The company says in the first half of 2024, champagne sales fell by 15% compared to the same period in 2023. I know personally, if I want bubbles, I get Cava or Prosecco because those prices are just incomparable to champagne. They're a lot better. But Prosecco's pretty expensive these days too. I don't know. It's all kind of pricey. It's for a toast. Well, moving on. SpaceX deploys a new shipment of Starlink satellites. A Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Tuesday morning with 21 Starlink satellites to boost the company's mega constellation network for internet. The rocket's booster targeted a SpaceX drone ship for landfall after its 8th launch to space. And this could be the type of thing that would really help people in Maine, especially rural Maine, with internet access. Well, finally now, with frigid temperatures outside, some may want to curl up with a cozy craft. Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply is the only locally owned yarn shop in Bangor. And owner Jody Clayton says business ticks up in the winter as people reach for comforting crafts. She says people are working to create their own hats, scarves, mittens, and other winter gear with the shop's natural fibers. It's a hobby that she says can be healing as the cold sets in.
There's a lot of research
on what handwork, knitting and crocheting specifically, do in terms of supporting healthy brain activity and management of cortisol and stress and anxiety. It's really good medicine.
Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply also hosts a variety of classes. Visit our website at foxbangor.com for more information. That business has been around for quite some time, so it really shows that people love it. All right, looks like we're running out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. You can stay tuned for 25 Words or Less next on Fox 22. I hope you have a great Tuesday.
Today on 25 Words or Less, I would never make fun of someone's name.